And speaking of, things changing in the competitive landscape, we wanted to take a look back at some of the changing players and changing of the guard of the top level competition that we've had throughout the years. Because one cool thing about Street Fighter 6 that we've been seeing a lot in the first couple months of competition is the return of a lot of new players, or a lot of existing players, kind of back to their throne to a degree. I don't know, competing for those top spots. And at the same time, some of the old Street Fighter V guard, the late era Street Fighter V players, also showing that they're here to stay. And it's been really cool to see kind of the mixing of generations, because we have players that probably weren't even like alive when some of these players were putting up big numbers, to be quite honest, right? If we compare, like, I don't know, we compare Daigo to an Ending Walker, right?
the
he
wasn't around for that. We weren't even around for some of the stuff that,
we were at least alive, but we were blissfully ignorant to
true.
EVO Moment 37 happening. Our spidey senses weren't telling us that the history of esports has changed forever, but we had to figure that out later. But yeah, man, Street Fighter 4 players, they've been back in action in Street Fighter 6 pretty heavy right now. We just saw players like Snake Eyes qualify for Capcom Cup. I had him on Team Street Fighter 5 for Twitch Rivals, but let's be real, he's kind of more of a Street Fighter 4 player, but he did do a lot of work in Street Fighter 5 early on. He won CEO 2017, got second place at Combo Breaker, and had a bunch of other big top 8 and tournament winnings along there, but he was the guy, I think, at the end of Street Fighter 4 for USA. I think he got 5th place at Capcom Cup 2015. For a while, it was him and Dominion just like trading major wins over and over. I think 2015, there was maybe 3 or 4 grand finals where it was Snake Eyes Dominion for all of the USA major events, and they were just like going at it. And yeah, now we see him back in action, showing that he's still potentially the king of the West Coast. Potentially or definitely. I don't know. There's another player who is trying to argue for that title.
That's tough. And he's actually another player that's even in this conversation. Of course, we saw, you're alluding to Chris T. Chris T was amazing in Street Fighter V. Let's get that out the way. He qualified for Capcom Cup. He beat Fudo there back in the Beast Chris Tatarian days, man. But it's dope to see him back to competing, because some of these guys, Snake Eyes, Chris T, they cooked up, but then they stopped playing for a while. For like a couple of years, at least being like serious competitors, and then now they're back to doing work. I think the whole conversation, which at least this conversation is that I had normally regularly, wasn't very common, is the whole with this with people in Street Fighter 5. If it was Street Fighter 4, they wouldn't have been able to. That was just permeate the whole FGC. In Street Fighter 5 and 6, we gonna see if that was just regular. And at the end of the day, bro, as we should have been already known, fighting games are fighting games. So it's no surprise when you see Tokido. Tokido just won World Warrior event. And of course, that's bringing up the gods. But to me, if you're godlike at any Street Fighter game ever, including Street Fighter 2, I don't care what it is, that means that you could be godlike. I don't know if you agree with that, Brian. I think if you're godlike in any Street Fighter game, you could be godlike in anyone that ever comes out.
If you're willing to apply the effort, like the process to reach the top of a competitive endeavor is the same across almost any discipline, especially, gaming. Like, even outside of this title and this genre, anyone who gets good at a game can come to your game, and if they have the drive and the will, and we've seen that, people from other genres coming over to Street Fighter 6 and doing work as well. So yeah, don't. I think people put a lot of credit in being like a Street Fighter player, like coming from a certain era. Like that is just a sign that you're of a different pedigree. Listen, if you're not willing to put in the work for the current title, you're not going to get the results you want. And to Rob's point there, some of the late era Street Fighter V players still cooking up. Let's look at Ending Walker, man. Like this kid came out of nowhere. So many people wanted to be like, oh, but what if it was this game? But oh, what if it wasn't? He wasn't playing Ed. The goalposts will forever shift.
And people were sure he was winning because of Ed, bro. People 100%. Were heavy on that at first.
I don't, I was talking with Rob. I don't love entertaining these conversations because I just feel like you have to purposely have the blinders on. Like some people, the way they speak about these players putting up great numbers and great results, it's just not worth entertaining to me sometimes. But I think it serves to, it's good to remind people who achieve that level of success. If you get 4th place at Capcom Cup at 16, 17 years old, you're
special.
Godlike.
I don't care.
You're godlike.
There is no circumstance that you not godlike.
I don't care what character you're using. No. I don't care what game it is. That level of competition, that late into a game, that mature of a meta to show up out of nowhere and in the course of a year dominate the UK scene, and then go to Capcom Cup and prove that he wasn't just being a big fish in a small pond. And we know the UK scene was godlike even before Ending Walker was there, right? Like, there's no denying that. And so to dominate that scene alone should have told you something. And then now in Street Fighter 6, he is dominating the UK scene once again with a Ryu.
Yeah.
Where are you going to move your goalpost? Like,
it's like, he shut down all of the talk expeditiously with the Ryu pick, bro. And it's fascinating, man. Like, even seeing the fact that he would go there. The mechanics of the game are way different at this point. The style of character is entirely different. So, how much, it made me wonder in general, seeing this mixing the generations, how much do you think 4 would prepare you, if you didn't play 5? Like, let's just say, hypothetically, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, the way they play. Do you think one of them prepares you more for Street Fighter 6? Do you think one of them is more similar?
I think there's definitely a more similarity between 5 and 6 than 4 and 6, but that we're also, if you zoom, let's zoom out for a second.
Yeah.
We're splitting hairs.
Yes.
It's Street Fighter.
I agree.
Like,
at the end of the day, anti-air, low floor.
Like, to some people, every game is Street Fighter 2. Like, it doesn't matter which one you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still Street Fighter. So the concepts of footsie, spacing, anti-airs, combos, reactions, the throw game, it's all very, very similar. And if you can get godlike at 4, if you can get godlike at 5, you can become godlike at 6. And that's why we're seeing players. To me, I don't think any of these, like, if any player who can get to the top of 4 could have got to the top of 5 if they had the passion to do so. And any player can get to the top of 5, can get to the top of 6 if they have the passion and drive to do so.
Or retroactively, if you was godlike at 5, you would have been godlike at 4.
Right, I agree. Yeah, if they had the passion to do so. To me, that's the number one thing. People who have cracked either through just talent and they're born with some special ability to understand the process, or through hard work and learning how to learn, if you crack that code, you can get good. It's just that simple to me. And so I think there's people who apply it and people who don't. And that's up to their own reasons and their own motivations as to why they do it. So, yeah, if you're able to get good at one of these games, you can get good at another. And we've been seeing that consistently as Street Fighter 6 has become kind of like the big melting pot across all these generations. So I'm really interested to see more like Ending Walker style competition versus other people. And another big point, let's bring up Menon real quick. Hello, Capcom Cup champ,
bro, super
dominant right now. Like, do we need to see any more consistency? He came out of the gate winning 2 Capcom Cups for Street Fighter 5. Immediately, had an amazing run at EVO, got second place, great run at Gamers 8, just dominating every other regional event he's in between.
Yeah, so like, with Menon, he's using Birdie. He's playing super aggressive, bullhorn on your wake up. At that point, remember, he had that tech where he found like I don't know what word we want to use on
the bullhorn pushback.
He found the bullhorn pushback.
The counter hit pushback tech that was present in like season 1 and season 2 of Street Fighter 5, which they adjusted. A lot of moves had that property where if you hit them during counter hit, they would be shifting during the movement. So on counter hit, they would be left really far away so that your combo wouldn't connect. And then Birdie, of course, he does his reversal, which is like an armored move, but you can counter hit it if you hit meaty. But you got the counter hit, he'd be spaced out, and of course, your next move whiffs. What is Birdie doing? That big medium punch is coming out into a confirm into a knockdown.
Yeah, so his was like he had the, and he saved that. He saved it for nationals. Like, we didn't know about that.
Classic FGC strats right there.
But a lot of people at that moment were like, okay, well, he won, or some people at least feel like, oh, well, he won based off of that. Again, there's always a reason. But then he goes and wins again a few years later, and then now he comes into a new game with new characters and new mechanics, and he makes grand finals at EVO, man. And Angry Bird wins EVO, somebody who throughout Street Fighter 5 was an absolute menace. So we have fun and we get passionate and all that, debating about characters, debating about tiers, debating about mechanics, debating about eras. It's fun. But in the end of the day, much like it is with regular sports or whatever, if not to go deep into it, because I feel like it's gaming, so people hate me bringing up sports or something. But if realistically, if you brought Michael Jordan to today's era, he would still be godlike. He will adapt to this era and be godlike. The same way,
yeah. But who would he make?
To who Michael Jordan made?
Yeah. Put him on the sticks. Let's see how he does. Let's test my theory of if you can learn how to learn, you can be good at anything. Right?
No matter. Yeah, I think he might have an issue at the passion part of it, Brian. I think that might be where
potentially. Yeah,
he might top out at 1300 MR. But yeah, man. So it's fascinating, man. But at the end of the day, It's beautiful that we have all these different generations now cooking up here in Street Fighter 6, whether you're Street Fighter 4, 5, 6, or if you're somebody who comes from other games or whatnot. This is pretty much the FGC Golden Age, the new FGC Golden Age, and it is a beautiful time to be a part of it.